Hello, welcome to my channel. This is where I share my painting experience. I hope you enjoy the videos. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And I'd really appreciate that. It helps my channel grow. So the first thing I did was a thumbnail sketch, which I did in a little notebook. Then I graphed it up to fit a 9x12 canvas panel. And that's where we're going to start. As you can see, this sketch has a lot of detail, and I'll complete those details with the aid of a paint pen. I find that's the best way to do it. To get my horizon line straight, I've put on a piece of masking tape. When you have a view of the sea, that line needs to be dead straight, otherwise it just looks strange. So the first step is the sky. I've mixed French ultramarine blue with titanium white, and I will darken the topmost part of the sky. It gets paler as it gets to the horizon line, and that gives the sky that sort of domed quality. I should tell you I'm painting with acrylics, and if I remember, I'll put a list of all my paints at the end of this video. I'm adding a little green to that pale blue, and I'm going to paint the tops of the cliffs and hilltops. I'm working my way down from the top of the painting to the bottom, or you could think of it as the distance to the foreground, middle distance and foreground, whichever way you like, really. I'm using Naples yellow to paint the track. I'm taking you back in time, really, to before roads became paved everywhere. This is a sandy track leading across the cliff tops into the distance, and it brings your eye right into the painting. You feel that you could step across the frame and wander along that track. I'm painting a little hedge around the cottage, and I'm going to paint the verges on either side of the road, and I'll put on what I think of as my mid-tone, and then I'll add lights and darks in the way of weeds and little scrubby bits, because this is not a road that is groomed. That's the best way of putting it. Nobody comes along with a mower and mows this the side of the road. Everything's allowed to grow, all the weeds, all the scumbly bits that I'll put in afterwards, which will give me some depth and texture. When I'm doing a landscape, in this case a sea view, I like to have the main focus of the painting spotlit, and I do that by giving myself a frame of trees, usually in the foreground, and that can be dark on either side of the spotlit area. And the darks make that highlight brighter, and I think that's very effective. I learned that from looking at some very, very old paintings. and I saw that trick used quite often. I'm thinking of the roof of the cottage as being a slate roof. I'm using grey to start off with, which I've mixed with French ultramarine blue and raw umber. That makes a good grey. I'm dabbing away with my brush on the details, but when you're using acrylic paints, acrylic paint pens work very well for details. I'm putting in a sort of white band across my horizon line, and then I'll put blue below that. But that glimmer of white sort of differentiates between the sky and the sea, and it adds a little sparkle. This is the adolescent phase of the painting when it still needs a little refining, so it's hard not to get discouraged at this point. But once all the details are in and all the other colours are put in to give it some depth, the painting will take on a bit more life. In my thumbnail, I'd left this part of the painting rather blank, and then I thought, well, I'll put in some boats, you know, like one of those old boat yards you see, where the boats are all up on blocks, and it's just something to add interest to that blank corner. I've added a tall poplar to this corner of the painting. It gives me that frame, but it doesn't hide the sheds and the boatyard. I'm using straight raw umber for the shadow side of the tree, and I'll add some alizarin crimson as well because I think it gives a little liveliness, and it sort of punches up things like tree trunks, stems, things like that. I've made the tree a little too wide, so I'm going over with primary yellow mixed with titanium, just so that you're able to glance past the tree on both sides. I'm mixing alizarin and French ultramarine blue to give me a sort of mauvey colour, and I'm going to use that for the shadow. I'll probably add straight blue, maybe even a little raw umber in there as I go along, but this is what I'm starting off with. And I'm going to throw a shadow right across the foreground, which will highlight the middle and distant areas of the painting. Landscapes usually take me about an hour to paint, whereas I can paint a rose or hydrangeas in 15 to 20 minutes. But there's so much detail in a landscape, or in this case a sea view, that it just takes me that much longer. It is very interesting to paint though. There are so many details. Here I'm using sap green and primary yellow, and I've got an old bristle brush which I use to dot on the foliage. I just sort of pounce it on there. I'm not picking out individual leaves, and I'm using sap green probably at some point with French ultramarine blue for my darks, and then I'll add titanium white for my lights where the sun catches the foliage. You can see that just putting in these darks in the foreground is making the middle ground and the distant look so much brighter, and it's highlighting them is what I want to say. The shadow areas are a good place to get a lot of colour, and I use several different ones. You might not see a lot of them in the finished painting, but they all sort of peep through and give you a depth of colour. When I'm painting with acrylics, I don't mind if I lose the details because I have my original sketch, and once the painting is dry I can always put that sketch over and reinforce the details, and that makes it very easy to paint in acrylics, I have to say, one of the perks. The darker I paint the foreground, the sunnier the distance and middle distance appear to be. You need those darks to show up your highlights. going to use my bristle fan brush, a small one, for the roadside weeds and the scrubby bits. I think it works really well for that. Putting in the scrubby weedy bits and strengthening the shadows, getting as many colors as you can into your painting are what give it the interest and make it have substance, I suppose. I'm going to put in some of the details using paint pens. I haven't found a paint pen that I really love, but I've got quite a selection of paint pens that I get by with. If anyone knows a really good paint pen, please leave the name of it in the comments. I'd appreciate that. Here comes Chrissy. She likes to visit while I'm painting. The grass on the sides of the roads, the verges, will cast a little shadow of their own, so I try to put that in as well. I decided the house itself would cast more of a shadow onto the track, but I don't think I have it at the right angle. It definitely looks a little off to me. After I have my mid-tone on in a painting, the rest of my time is spent refining my colors, putting in highlights and shadows, and that's about it really, and I just build it up over time. I think it's getting to a place where I'm beginning to feel pleased with it and seeing that it's worth continuing with the project. I'm using a paint pen to put in some little sailboats. That one's a bit big. Paint pens are great for putting in all the tiny details. The sailboats are important. They bring your eye right into the furthest reaches of the painting, make your eye travel through the painting. Sometimes if you just want to daub on a little paint here and there, a few bright spots, you can just take it straight out of the tube with your finger. I do that quite often, to be absolutely honest. I once had a teacher who told me if I wasn't covered in paint at the end of a painting, I wasn't a real artist. I'm not totally thrilled with the colour of the boats, but they'll have to do, and maybe I'll do better next time. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button to see more of my videos. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.